joined today by
J.R. Romano.
Well, joining me now is none other than Patrick Sasser, who delivered pages upon pages of signatures fighting against tolls, because we all know how terrible tolls would be for the working class and the single moms and every person that punches a clock. We know how bad it will be. So Patrick, I wanted to bring you on to talk about two things. Number one is, obviously, you have a big rally coming up. So why don't we touch on that first? Why don't we talk a little bit about what you have going on and how people can participate in your rally?
Sure. May 18th, that's the large rally that we're having up at the Capitol. The name of the event is Save Our State, because that's what we are all trying to do at this point, basically saving our state from, sinking like the Titanic. That's going to be from noon to 3 on the north side of the Capitol on May 18th.
So if people want to go, I wanted to touch base on the one that's on the 18th, because that's a big deal, right? We're trying to show these politicians that we're not going to take this lightly. I mean, we're having, public policy after public policy that's causing Connecticut to get just more expensive to live in. And so I really want to encourage anyone listening to participate on the 18th. But more importantly, how can people participate? I know that there are groups that are organizing buses. I know that there's a lot going on, and we really have to demonstrate and show just how damaging and detrimental tolls would be to the hardworking people of the state. So Patrick, what would you for anyone that's on the fence or needs a ride, what would you tell them?
Well, I think for the people that, first of all, to get involved, there's many things that people can do. We're still collecting petitions on our website. We're encouraging folks to continue calling, making those phone calls to their legislators, their state reps, their state senators. If they don't know who they are, they can get that information on our website. And then the other thing is, with this May 18th event, this is the opportunity for people in Connecticut who are just fed up with everything that's going on. If you're fed up about the conversation with tolls, if you're fed up with these tax proposals that are going on, all that kind of stuff, this is people's opportunity to come out and be a part of it. Talk to friends, talk to neighbors, carpool, reach out to people, find a way to get up there and be a part of this grassroots movement. People can hide behind a keyboard all day long and write comments on Twitter and write comments on Facebook and everything else, but this is the time for action. This is the time for people to really show up in strength and be a part of this. So that's what we're encouraging for May 18th.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that sentiment. I think, if these politicians sees, all these people that have taken time out of their day to go up there and show and force just how tired they are, and this is a great opportunity to do it, right? It's an opportunity to go and meet other people across the state of Connecticut who feel the same way you do, to recognize that you're not alone, that your sorrow and misery in the state of Connecticut is felt by thousands. And I really encourage anyone out there to participate in this, because, it's an opportunity not only to come together as a state, to come together as just hardworking people, to say that we've had enough. And if people don't take this opportunity, back on the election cycle, I was saying this all, you don't want to wake up and having not volunteered and having not showed up and have Ned Lamont as your governor. There's a lot that just thought, hey, yeah, Republicans are going to win. I don't need my help. Well,
right.
That's old song and dance. That's getting tired, right? We need you. We need the people listening to show up. We need you to show up. I cannot stress that enough, because, there's no cavalry coming over the hill to save us from tolls, right? It's got to be the people who are listening. It's got to be the people who have signed the petition, because if we don't take a stand, they're going to continue to believe that they have a mandate. But I'm curious. The other thing I want you to talk about is you now, because of all that you've organized and all these just grassroots, organic groups of people who have come together to try to fight the government. There's been a group formed to stop you, hasn't there?
Yes. This is definitely the David versus Goliath. There is a group called Move Connecticut Forward. They are a well-funded organization because they have unions that are supporting them, labor forces that are dumping a ton of money, and they're spending close to $1 million to try to convince the public that tolls are the answer. And what is mind-blowing to me is that for decades, for years, the lawmakers in Hartford have been diverting money away from the special transportation
hold on, Patrick. I have to stop you. I have to stop you. Every time on the podcast, someone says diverted, I have to play the clip of Kathy Austin. So hold on one second. Let me play it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
How many times have we taken money out of the special transportation fund and moved it into the general fund? Well, we've not done that. We diverted some money from going into that, which is different. We diverted some money from going into that, which is different.
So I want to talk to, I think the listeners need to understand more specifically, who are these people that have poured in this $1 million to try to fool the state of Connecticut? Go ahead.
They all obviously gain, they have something to benefit here, obviously. They want the projects, they want the work, they want to keep their members working, they want jobs. And I get it. Look, we've got bridges, we've got roads. It requires maintenance. I get that. And no one from my side, none of us say we don't want safe roads. None of us are saying we don't want paved highways. But my argument to them, and I hope to run into Don Schumer again, is that where has your group been over the past several years and decades? Why are you guys not screaming and fighting against the lawmakers that are diverting the money? Oh, I said it again. They're the ones that have been diverting the money away. So why are they not yelling and kicking and screaming at those people? But now all of a sudden this toll thing is like, it's this new money that they can't wait to get their hands on. Well, what about the money that's supposed to be there that we, the taxpayers, have been funding and paying for years? Why are they not kicking and screaming at the lawmakers? And that's what's so frustrating to me. Don't come after us because we're trying to stop tolls. They should be going after the lawmakers saying, what are you guys doing with the funds? So that's my argument against them.
What's funny about that, what they failed to even acknowledge is the fact that if the Democrats had been spending the money the way that they were supposed to and not diverting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
These people would have, I know. These people would have had jobs, right? They would have been working on repaving roads. They would have been fixing bridges. But now because, and look, you're being much kinder than I'll be. At the end of the day, these are union leaders that are protecting the Democrats that they got elected. Let's just say it, right? Because what's happened is that they're trying to convince everyday voters that somehow it's a good thing for tolls to come in under this guise of, 30% of people from out of state will pay it. Yeah, okay. But we don't have a guarantee that any of the money is going to be spent where it's supposed to be spent. That's the other part of this conversation, is that the Democrats have had a horrible track record of actually spending money and focusing the money where it's supposed to be. Every small little so-called grand idea the Democrats have had, whether it's the energy fund, whether the paint can fund, the electricity fund, whatever it is, they always raid it or they divert it.
Right. And that's the same conversation I had with Ryan, the chief of staff, yesterday after we submitted the petitions. And I told him, I said, point blank, the trust is broken. The taxpayers of Connecticut no longer trust the legislators or the governor or the people that have been promising us one thing and then doing something completely different. And this is why when they try to tell us 40% of the people will pay from out of state, this is going to speed up traffic. Tolls are going to do this. Tolls are going to do that. No one believes it for a
That's
second.
My favorite. Yeah, it'll speed up traffic for the rich guys who can pay for the expensive lane that they want to put in. And my favorite is I had someone argue with me. He's like, well, it'll be more expensive for the on-peak and off-peak. And I was like, yeah, when people are going to work, you're literally trying to maximize your profit off people going to work.
You're taxing people that are trying to go to work. That's the bottom line. And they try to use narratives like user fee and things like that. No, this isn't a user fee. I'm not going to the beach. These are federal highways that I'm trying to use to get to work, and that's what people are doing.
Well, but
I think it's insane.
But there's an important piece we have to talk about, and then we already pay a user fee that's designed to go into the Special Transportation Fund, and that's our double-dipped gas tax.
Correct.
That's the other part of this. And I'm not being critical, Patrick, but one of the things we often forget when we're arguing these points is the state of Connecticut makes, I think, and I don't know the exact calculation because I could be wrong, and I'm sure if I'm wrong, the Democrats will tweet at me or something. But I think it's like 35 cents. It might even be 50 cents a gallon in taxes when you take because they tax it at the port and they tax it at the pump. So
Correct.
They may be taking about 50 cents a gallon, between 30 and 50 cents a gallon in taxes. And does everyone forget about that money? I mean, do
Right.
we not, every gallon, not every time you fill out it's 30, every gallon you're pumping,
Correct.
they take 30 to 50 cents. That's supposed to be the user fee, right? And by the way, the argument there is people drive through Connecticut, right? How many people fill up when they're driving through Connecticut? What percentage of those people pay the gas tax? So I could make an argument the same that they can in regards to tolls, that not everybody's paying for our roads. Not everyone in the state of Connecticut's paying for our roads, right? Because there's certainly people that stop at those rest stops. There's certainly people from out of state that are using our gas stations. It's mind-numbing. And then what's even scarier, and here's how stupid, and that's the only word that I can use, when Ned Lamont was like, well, I'll keep tolls off the Merritt Parkway. Okay, Ned, what'll end up happening on a 2-lane highway? Everyone will get that thing would be mobbed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then,
so it should be the other way. Put the tolls on the Merritt Parkway and leave 95 alone.
Well, this is what's funny. You know, they take pieces out of that toll study that C.M. Smith did last year, and they take bits and pieces of it that fit their narrative, right? So the toll study called for 82 toll gantries. When I called out Senator Bergstein about that, she shut me off and said, no, we're not talking about 82 tolls anymore. Okay, great. So then you change the narrative now. The governor's saying, well, we're not going to toll the Merritt Parkway. We're going to try to see if we can get some legislators to jump on board. Well, if you look at the tolling study, it calls for tolls on the Merritt Parkway. So they're chopping at this study that we spent millions of dollars on, and they're just trying to piece together whatever they think is going to convince the public that this is some magical idea. And I think it's disgusting that that's what they're trying to do right now. I am convinced they have absolutely no plan. There is no plan. And I think they're just hoping and praying.
Well, it's not, because it's not about transportation. It's not about funding the roads. It's a revenue grab. It's because because if it was truly about because transportation and infrastructure, you need to have 30-year plans. They don't have that. This is about the revenue they're going to grab in order to meet their operating expenses. And what's going to happen? It's embarrassing.
And I want to remind people that are listening too that they say that the toll money can only be used on the highways. Okay, I can kind of understand that, but people need to remember the other half of this. Your gas tax, they could do whatever they want with that revenue. They can shift that over to anything they want. So don't be fooled that this toll money is some magical money. They're going to divert the rest of that money we're putting towards transportation. They're going to use that elsewhere, and we're going to be right back in the same problem again down
when
the road.
They're calling to raise, and this is the beauty. They want to give up authority to control the price that the tolls that we pay in tolls. That's my other, so that there's no legislative vote whether we increase tolls or decrease tolls. What ends up happening is they'll keep raiding the fund, and then the toll authority will be like, hey, we're not making enough money. We have to increase the toll amount. That's what they're going to do.
We'll have to jack it up. And look, that's what every other state has done. You know, there's history of that. So, when the governor is now talking about, the fees, the toll prices will stay the same for 3 years. I don't believe it for a second. If we're using that money to borrow money from Wall Street, well, guess what? If we can't hit that revenue goal, they're going to have no choice but they're going to have no choice but to jack the rates up. I mean, come on, people. I think people are smart enough to recognize that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, Patrick, I also want to highlight one other thing. You are, and compared to these outside groups the unions, I should say, that are basically covering the Democrats' flank, right? They're trying to give them cover for the fact that they're failures in government. You're just a guy that owns a business. You are not political. Yeah. I mean, I'm the chairman of the party. We have not met before this. You're just a guy that owns a business that has had enough. And I don't think you get enough credit for that. So you didn't run for office. You own a business here and you're trying to survive.
Right. Just like everyone else. And that's why, I speak to so many business owners throughout the state just from talking to them because of this issue. And it's clear that these tolls are going to kill the small businesses on top of all these other taxes that they're trying to introduce. But these tolls are going to be a killer. And I know people, for instance, that a guy that I've known for many years, he owns an oil delivery company. He's estimated it costing his company, if these tolls go in, anywhere from $55,000 to $70,000 a year is what he will pay on these tolls. And he's made it clear, he says, I can't eat that cost. I'm going to pass that down to my customers. So every time they get home heating oil to their house delivered, they are going to pay more for every gallon because he has to cover his toll cost. And that's the other half of this that everyone needs to understand. Everything that we buy in our stores, everything that we depend on is trucked into the state of Connecticut. It doesn't come by train. It comes by truck. And, you know, Ned Lamont wants to go after these truckers like they're some evil empire. They're just trying to make a living also. A lot of those guys that drive the trucks are owner-operators. They're barely making enough money to survive as it is, and they haul these loads. And the trucking companies do pay taxes based on the mileage that they travel through our states. So they try to make it sound like these trucks roll through our state for free. I got news for you. They do pay. They pay quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. This is just, again, what everyone needs to understand is the Democrats have turned into the party of liberal elites. Do as I say, not as I do. You know, we don't mind paying a little bit more to drive to work. We don't mind paying a little bit more for our groceries or any goods or services that we have because they can afford it and they have no concept of the damage they're doing to the hardworking people, the people that are in the middle. And frankly, I don't think they care. I actually think they're more interested in protecting their special interest groups, which is what we're seeing with all this legislation that they're passing that will be destructive to anyone that's not a state employee union. Anyone that doesn't work for the state of Connecticut, the state is going to be disastrous. It's sad. And I feel bad for the people that I grew up with. I feel bad for my friends and family in the Valley and in Meriden and Norwich, because it's going to be crippling to them. It's going to be crippling to them.
Absolutely. I mean, and I said this to the chief of staff yesterday. I said, you know, if you guys put these tolls in and you guys put all these taxes in, I said, who will be left to pay the bill? I said, you know, people are fleeing out of Connecticut every day. Who's going to be left? There's no one wanting to move back into Connecticut. Anyone that's reaching their retirement age is, you know, they're already looking 2 years ahead before they hit retirement to figure out what state can I go to that I'm not going to be taxed to death. So, you know, coming up with these crazy ideas that they're doing, I don't see how that's going to benefit the state. I don't see how putting 50 tolls through the state of Connecticut are going to bring businesses here. I totally think these I don't know what they're all smoking. You know, maybe they already legalized marijuana because they're all on something, I swear. It's just insane. And to brush things off, to make it sound like the Connecticut people, you know, the Speaker of the House, you know, Tolling Joe, you know, he made some comments the other day in a new press conference that, you know, the public, they're, you know, against the tolls are just making, you know, they're just a noisy bunch. I got news for you. Every poll that I've seen, and for instance, Channel 3 did a poll the other day, 92% are opposed to tolls. You know, so he brushes us off like we're just some noisy group. These are the voters. These are the taxpayers speaking out. So I'm curious. I know Joe's not running again next year, so he's got nothing to lose. But I tell you, these other lawmakers, they have a lot to lose going forward.
I've said publicly, and of course it didn't make the paper, I said I dare some of these Democrats to vote for tolls. I dare them.
Yeah.
Because in some of these communities, it will not, you know, they didn't win by large margins in 18, although they think they did. Some of these reps won by 20 votes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And the other thing, I just lost my train of thought on that, but yeah, it's the margins of what they lost. Several of these lawmakers, several of the Democrats especially, for instance, Senator Will Haskell, our freshman senator out of Wilton, loves to claim that he won by pushing for tolls. That's how he won his election. And I need to remind people that they weren't necessarily listening to him. They were listening to the governor who was talking about tolling trucks only. That's what people were listening to. And then, I think a lot of voters were duped because a lot of them thought, oh, he's only going to toll trucks. Well, that doesn't affect me. And they didn't pay attention to it. And I think a lot of these lawmakers who think they won because they were running on a toll platform, I think they're wrong on that one. When you talk to people now and they they learn that when the governor flip-flopped and said, oh, no, I'm going to toll cars now, that turned off a lot of Democrats. I have a lot of Democrats that are working on our grassroots team here who are, they are pissed off because they voted for the governor. They voted on the platform he was running on, and then he made a huge 180. And that pissed a lot of people off, a lot of Democrats. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they all do in the next couple of weeks.
Well, that's absolutely true. So before I let you go, I just want to remind everyone, May 18th, please reach out to the group. Give everyone the information again, Patrick.
Sure. It's May 18th from noon to 3 o'clock at the north side of the Capitol. And folks can get all the details on our website, NoTollsCT.org. Check us out on Facebook, NoTollsCT. All the information's on there. And we put articles and videos and things like that on the Facebook page and website so people can become informed, learn more about this issue. This is something that can completely change the face of Connecticut forever if this goes through. So I'm encouraging everyone, get involved. This is the time to do it. This is a battle. This is a fight, but it's a fight I strongly believe we can still win.
Well, I appreciate your efforts, Patrick, and I certainly am encouraging as many people as I can to go up there. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the 18th.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Take care.